Over the last few years, the Warhammer 40,000 universe has been subjected to the shotgun approach of giving the IP to as many developers as possible in the games industry. One of the few bright sparks was Warhammer Space Hulk Deathwing by Stream On Studio. Fast forward to 2021, and we now have Necromunda Hired Gun, a brand new FPS from the same developer. Today, we are looking on if you should pick the game up and dive into the dark, horrifying world of Warhammer 40k and see the hive city of Necromunda. Necromunda Hired Gun is a first-person Twitch shooter that is set in the hive world of Necromunda, one of the most infamous cities in the 40k universe. You are a bounty hunter that has a big arsenal of guns and a loyal dog sidekick to take you through the adventure throughout the world. Releasing for Xbox, PlayStation, and also Steam, Hired Gun does a good job of making you feel powerful and pulling from other shooters in the genre. Think Doom, but slap a coat of Warhammer 40,000 armor on it and you'll have a recipe for energetic gameplay. Great progression and all-round fun. I enjoyed my experience with Necromunda and would recommend it to anyone who wants to have an enjoyable experience for a few hours, but there are a few shortcomings. It can let you down and can be a little bit of a turn-off for some players, but let's dive into my review for Necromunda Hired Gun. To preface, I find the fun in games and I try to find the best in them. I don't want my reviews to be, too wordy or too long, so I'll try and keep it to the point whilst giving enough to form your own opinion if you want to play the game yourself. It's my first review, so hopefully I'll get better in the future. The story in Hired Gun, sadly, is rather disappointing, especially in a world of 40k. It didn't really grasp me. It's your bog standard bounty hunter betrayed story. You go on a series of events and quests and end up getting revenge. If you're a massive 40k fan, you will see some of the little Easter eggs and the lore that is thrown at you throughout the sections of the game, and that'll make you happy. But don't go in expecting a mastercraft of storytelling. It's a very linear experience. The characters, whilst charming to look at and listen to, don't really add much substance to the story apart from throwing a lot of names at you and expecting you to know or care about what's going on, besides go here, kill bad guy, move on to the mission, complete. The main quest line follows a very mission-based format. The same goes for the side missions, which also reward loot and credits as you play through and help upgrade your character. Overall, I just think the story is there and it isn't really a big hitter, but it's made up for by the combat loop, world design, and upgrade systems. Hired Gun has something incredible going for it. Take Doom gunplay, add in a splash of Titanfall movement, and stick it in the world of 40k, you can sign me up for that. Having the ability to dash, double jump, wall run, and use of a grappling hook, add into the mix a special ability which allows you to pull out a knife, increases your movement speed and also kill power. It's like a special ability that you get in the game, and it just adds those movement elements together. It just feels nice and smooth, and it adds a great level of verticality to the levels as well when you are able to grapple from a top part down to a bottom part, and there's just a lot of different things that you can do with the movement systems. It's very, very satisfying. While it takes a lot of inspiration from the other games in its genre, where it falls down with this is it lacks a little bit of polish. The smooth, slick movement of Titan and Doom are not always present here, making it feel like an alpha version of the aforementioned games. It's something that I think that they could definitely have spent a tiny bit more time on, maybe added a little bit better hit registration when it comes to sticking to the walls and such, but that's just a small gripe. Variety in gameplay is something that I like in Hired Gun. Bolters, plasma guns, auto guns and shotguns, and a variety of other abilities and such that you can use. It's just good to have a variety of each weapon, and the way that they fire, they shoot and feels very weighty. They feel like weapons that would be in the 40k universe. Heavy, chunky sounds from the heavy bolters. Plasma guns hum with life, like, you know, the plasma that's boiling inside them. Shotguns are very meaty, and the gunplay is very reminiscent of Doom. I can see where this game takes a lot of its inspiration from, slightly, but the gunplay is not as tight as Doom. It can feel like enemies are bullet spongy at times, and then other times they get blown away into a hot bloody mess on the floor. On the whole, it feels fun and great to shoot enemies in this game. The upgrade system in the game, though, is super cool. You get credits from completing main missions and side missions, killing enemies and such, finding loot to trade in at the end of missions, and you can use those credits to do a great many things. Upgrading your character, better movement speed, combat ability cooldowns, more on that in a moment, being able to detect enemies better, you know, more health and great other upgrades that you can just have over and make you into a massive badass when you're playing. This is an interesting because not only do you get to upgrade yourself, but you also get to upgrade man's best friend, the Mastiff. And this system is great because you can spend a small period of time doing some side missions, maxing out your level, and then be able to breeze through enemies. And even on the normal difficulty, it does pose a little bit of a challenge. So doing this is definitely going to make your time a lot easier. Something we touched upon earlier, though, the combat abilities are a part of the upgrade system. They can have a number of effects that can influence what you do in the game. Stunning enemies, a blast attack, etc. They can all be upgraded and have improved cooldowns via the upgrade system as well. Using these skills can give you a really good experience, but the saddening part about it is some of them aren't really that effective, and also the game doesn't do a very good job of introducing you to them as part of the gameplay loop. You have to kind of stumble upon it yourself and find the action wheel and open up, you know, the gameplay possibilities yourself. And I wish that they'd done that a little bit better and they'd have shown you, okay, use these abilities, these are part of the core experience. Areas of the game loop that bugged me, though, is by far the loadout system. Before any mission, you will select a loadout from weapons you have in your inventory and buy resources for the mission ahead, and, you know, like a basic weapon or like some med kits and such. But while you can only have a basic, special and heavy weapon, you're only able to equip 2 weapons at a time. One basic or one heavy or 2 heavies or whatever that may be, whatever combination. And this really frustrated me because other games you have a weapon wheel for the variety of weapons that you can get that you can swap to at any point. And for example, you have low ammo, it can be a problem when you want to mix things up instead of just running a shotgun all the time because that's your highest loot weapon. And it kind of falls down, and you can only change your equipped weapons if you find loot in the actual level. You can't just open up an inventory screen and swap from a bolter to a shotgun or to a combat shotgun or an auto gun. So it's kind of annoying when you run out of ammo, and this can be a very big turnoff. You are allowed to have a sidearm weapon, so you overall can have like 4 weapons. It's like an iron fist, which is like the main hand cannon, and then like a sidearm. And it's just, if there was a weapon wheel, it would allow you to swap off weapons, and you would have a lot more fun being able to just use the vast variety of fun weapons in the game. Despite the gunplay being fun and weighty, the upgrade system for them is rather generic and something I never really wanted to spend too much time looking into. There's some things in there that I just didn't think were worth being there, like having a barrel, like a sight, or like a skin for your weapon or anything like that you would spend a load of credits on. It just seems a little bit pointless at times. It's not really a massive issue. The enemy variety and side mission variety aren't that great either, but that didn't really bother me that much because usually they were getting turned into a bloody mess after I'd been shooting them. But the gameplay loop is fun enough that these things have been, they're a bit detracted. You don't really worry about them too much. It's mainly the inventory stuff that bothered me. Although it does have some issues in its gameplay, Hired Gun is satisfying. You feel every shot, you kill enemies, it's visceral at times, the takedowns are brutal, and the weapons just add a punch that you want in an FPS. It's not the best shooter, but it's damn hard to say it's not fun. One of the areas of the game where it really shines is in its ability to capture the feeling of being inside the world of Necromunda, being in the 40k universe. The levels are big, open and expansive, but also tight and compact as well, with lots of room to breathe in both, keeping up with the movement gameplay, being able to run on walls, grapple everywhere. The levels have the right touches of Warhammer design in them. If you take your time to get immersed in the world, each one of the characters has a different distinct feature that makes them fit right in. Sadly, the story throws a lot of names at you, generic characters and dialogue, so it does make it hard to kind of get fully immersed. If you're not a 40k fan, it's going to go right over your head. And for me, it gets it like an 80-20 split. For the most of the time, you can grasp what's going on, and other times you just want to skip the dialogue and get right back into the action. The game does a great job of making the world feel alive, while also catering for specific gameplay requirements. The areas are not too wide, but are vertical, which means you're able to zip around and the action doesn't really stop. If you're in tight areas, the movement can become affected, but it's fluid. Keeps you grounded in the world that it's trying to be in. The world design has to be commended because the attention to detail is fantastic. The world just looks fantastic with the grand scale of it. Graphically, not that great. It probably could have spent a little bit more time upgrading the graphics, but they've done a great job here. And this is great to see, as the developers did work on Space Horse Deathwing, and they are massive nerds of the 40k universe. Hired Gun does a great job in some areas and is lacking some real polish in others, but it's more up than down. Compared to the other games set in the 40k universe, I enjoyed my time with the game. Warhammer fans will love this because it gives you a good dive into the world of Necromunda. FPS fans will love this because it's a fun shooter for a few hours, but it's not going to knock your socks off. You can get this for around about £30 on Steam right now, and it may be fun to wait until it drops for a price on Steam sale or Xbox and PlayStation, but for me it's a strong recommend. I'm generally positive on games, and this has left me feeling that way. But that pretty much covers Hired Gun. I want to keep these reviews simple to follow, not too wordy, give my thoughts and opinion on the game. I want to know if it's good, bad, or just hear different opinions of what I am offering. I can only do better with more of these. I take a lot of inspiration from Game Ranks, how they do their reviews, and also Skill Up, and hopefully I can get to their level one day. Thank you very much for watching the video. Make sure you like it if it was enjoyable and informative. Subscribe if you're new and turn on the notification bell. Leave a comment on your thoughts of the game or whether or not you want to pick it up. And as always, this has been It's Jimbo, and I will see you guys next time.